Your Creative Push, Episode 15.
Stop worrying what everybody else thinks and says. You can only be yourself.
Welcome to Your Creative Push, the podcast that pushes you to pursue your creative passions. I'm your host, Youngman Brown, and my guest today is Patty Lesser. Patty is a writer and world traveler, and, well, frankly, I don't know if I should put those two in reverse order. World traveler first and writer second, because you've spent so much time in so many different places, which, by the way, makes me insanely jealous. Some of the places include Nova Scotia, Israel, Dominican Republic, Australia, England, Holland, Belgium. Did I miss any?
I don't think so. I've been all over. I've taken the train across Canada and traveled all over the United States as well.
Oh, man. So, what has been your favorite place?
Well, I partied for a year in Australia, so I guess that was it.
I guess it's not necessarily about where you go, it's about what you do when you're there, right?
Oh, definitely. I'm the kind of person that has to see all the tourist sites, but then I like to go off the beaten path and see the real country.
And what got you into traveling? When did you start doing that, and why?
Actually, it was a dream of mine as a kid. I wanted to live and work a year in every country. And as soon as I got the first opportunity to go somewhere, I left, and then I traveled for about 25 years. Came back to Canada a few times, went to Toronto 3 times to work, and then took off.
That is the dream. You just went for it.
Yeah, it was, I don't know, I love to travel. I love hearing new sounds, smelling new smells, seeing things I've never seen before.
What gave you the courage to be able to do that? Because I think a lot of people have that dream and that desire to be able to go to different places and like you said, smell new smells and see new sights. What gave you the courage to just kind of get up and go and do it?
I don't know. I think I've always had it. I mean, I have a clear memory of being 20 years old and passing through the security gate onto my flight to Israel. And I looked behind me, and there was a big hall. Behind the security were my parents. And I looked at them, and I turned back, and I never looked back.
Wow, and were you going to Israel for?
Well, it was just a place to go. They offered a program called an OPEN, which is a instructional class where you learn to speak Hebrew. You work on the kibbutz half the day, and half the day you're in class. So that was free, and that was an opportunity, and I just took advantage of it.
Good for you. Take advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah.
Patty, can you take us back to your first or maybe one of your first creative moments with writing or anything else and kind of tell us that story?
I remember going back to maybe as a young child and loving dragons. And I remember spending hours and hours writing dragon poems. And this was I've still got them, and my writing is poor, its spelling's terrible, but I love dragons, so I remember writing them. And then as I got older, I started writing short stories, and I took creative writing in school, and I spent a lot of time developing my writing skills. But it wasn't until quite a few years ago that I decided to write books, and I haven't stopped.
Good, yeah. You are definitely a prolific writer, and you span across many different genres. Can you talk about that?
Well, it's really weird with me. I don't write geared to a specific genre. I write the book, and then I say to my editor, what's the genre? I just write what I love and what interests me and what fascinates me. Then I worry about genre. So it just worked out that everyone's a different genre.
I think the takeaway from that is just to do what kind of is on your mind and not worry about the end result or what it is, and kind of just put it out there.
Well, that's just it. I mean, today it's romantic series. So everyone and their sister is writing romantic series. And then they give the first book for free, which helps promote their other books. But I can't do that because that Truthful Place is geared for kids who are 13, and Locker Rooms is for adults. And, Discerning Heart might be for it's a little romantic, so it might be more for women. But of course, my latest book, The Perfect Hand, is geared towards men.
Yes, and I am honored that you, before this interview, sent me that, and it's wonderful. And has to do with poker, which, as a poker dealer, I could completely relate to. So definitely check that out, The Perfect Hand. There'll be a link in the show notes page, which can be found at yourcreativepush.com/Patty Lesser or yourcreativepush.com/15. We'll have the links to all your books there. Patty, what are some things that initially held you back from being creative, and do they still hold you back?
I don't think I was ready. I mean, as a child, I loved books, and I used to read voraciously and always wanted to write one. But I just wasn't ready. And then one day, I had started a couple of books, and then one day it just hit me that this is what I can do, and this is what I love to do, and I'm able to discipline myself, and I can't discipline myself in anything. So with my writing, it just clicked. I think you have to wait. You know yourself if you can write or not. And if you can, you have to wait for that time when you feel inspired enough to put words down on a page. If you don't feel it, you can't write.
If you don't feel it, you can't write. That's true. And I feel like across all genres of art that everybody has that kind of in their head. So how do you know, like, when you feel it?
I wake up in the morning, I sit down at the computer, I take care of emails and such, and then I start to feel, are the words coming to me? Are my thoughts flowing easily? Am I relaxed? Am I concentrated? Some days I'm not, and I spend the day playing poker and chatting with friends. But like today, I woke up and I knew instantly I had a good sleep. I feel great. I know I can write today.
So have you already put words on page before this interview?
Yes, I'm working on my new book.
Awesome. What's it called?
I haven't got a title for it yet, but it's a modernization of the Book of Esther from the Bible.
Oh, cool. Can you take us back to your worst moment or one of your hardest times dealing with resistance and tell us that story?
Back in March, I had to have an operation, and I had to be put on a special diet. So my whole day was concentrated about eating this food, worrying about this, worrying about that, and I couldn't write. I told a friend, I said, I feel terrible. I can't put a word on a page. And there's no bother trying because I know whatever I write would be terrible. And I must have spent about 2 months unable to put a word on a page.
Mm.
My friend said to me, listen, you don't have to get all these books out right now. You're not at a deadline. You have no rush. Just relax, accept your problem, and then you'll find a time when you'll be motivated again. And that's just what happened. I gave up worrying, and I just carried on with my life. And then one day I woke up, and it was like, wow, I can write today. And I haven't stopped.
Nice. That's good. So as again, like you said before, it's kind of just waiting for it to kind of naturally come to you.
Yes, exactly. I mean, you can't force writing. I mean, sure you can. If you're a reporter or something, you have to attend some sort of event and write about it. You can do that because you're given the motivation. You have to find that motivation within yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I cringe thinking about like being a reporter or a journalist or getting assigned something to write. I think that would just completely decimate all kind of creative impulses that I had to do something that I enjoyed.
Well, that's why I could never be a ghostwriter.
Oh, yeah, me either.
Yeah, I couldn't do that. I mean, I don't think my writing is that good. I have good stories. I have good imagination. I have good plots. But to write what somebody else wants me to write, no.
On the flip side, could you maybe take us back to one of your best or like most triumphant creative moments?
It's every time I finish a book. Every time I write that. I mean, I usually know the last line before I finish a book. But
really?
Writing that last line and then saying it's finished, sending it off to the editor, that's a wonderful moment.
Yeah, just that feeling of having a completed project.
That you finally finished it. I've done it 6 times so far. And every time is just as wonderful and thrilling and calming, and it's just blows my mind every time it happens.
How soon after you're done, after you get that moment, like how long do you revel in that kind of that great feeling before you start the next thing?
A day.
One day? Why is that?
I don't know. I love to write.
Yeah.
And I've got so many ideas, and they're all unique. I've researched some of them and have realized that no one else is doing a modernization of the Book of Esther. I mean, there are a couple of books out and movies about the Book of Esther, but none take my slant. And it will take me a few months to finish it, but I will.
Do you ever, you have multiple ideas running through your head. I think a lot of creative types are like that. Do you stick to that one book, or do you kind of like sometimes work on multiple projects at the same time?
I work on multiple projects. Right now, I have been working well with my Book of Esther, but I am writing a sequel to that Truthful Place, the children's book, and I've started that. I'm working on it, but usually there'll come a time where I want to write, but it's not flowing with one book. So then I still feel like writing, so I work on another book in the meantime. I go back and forth. And as I said, I still get ideas, so I may write down a plot, or I may write down some notes and work on another book for a time. So, yes, multiple projects it is.
And you kind of mentioned before that you kind of wait for that kind of that flow state that, when the words come to you, as you said. But what is your formula for balancing your time?
Well, to be honest, writing is my full occupation. I get up in the morning when I can start to write usually around 9 or 10, and then I spend the whole afternoon working. And I stop usually 4 for Ellen.
For Ellen, yes. The world seems to stop for Ellen.
Yeah, it does. And she's worth stopping for because she always makes me laugh.
Yeah, she's great. She's fun.
Yeah. So I work full day. I don't work at night. Even if I get ideas, I may jot down something, but I don't work at night because I know I'm tired. I'm not in my peak form, so I don't write at night.
See, I'm the opposite. I can't write during the day. It's almost like there's like a block. I don't know. I have too many things going through my head. I guess a night owl, and that's when I get really creative. Is like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 hours before I go to bed. It's strange how it's different in different people.
Yeah, well, I've taken it on as a job.
Yeah.
I mean, 9 to 5. Well, 9 to 4.
Nice. What, as you said, you do this full time, but what does it bring to your life?
Balance, gives me inspiration, gives me positive. It gives me purpose.
Perfect. I mean, that's a perfect answer, especially when you knew from a young age that that's what you kind of wanted to do, to travel and to write. I assume you knew that from a young age?
Yes. But the thing was that I knew I couldn't write like other writers. I can't write that flowery language. I can't write that scene that sends you to heaven and hell and back. Mm-hmm. I can only write what I can. So I write a little simpler than most other writers. I don't spend hours discussing the wall. Mm-hmm. I just write what I can. And I think it's nice for a change to have something that you don't have to skip because you're tired of these descriptions.
Oh, I agree completely. And like I said, I read The Perfect Hand. The way that you tell the story is you tell the story. You don't get caught up in those details. You're very focused on the story and the plot and kind of where things go. And I appreciate that as a reader,
Well, I read so many of these classical novels, and I love them, but I can't write that. So I thought, I can't be a writer because I can't write like them. And then one day it clicked, well, if I write like me and people will accept me as me, then that's more important. And that's why my books aren't that long. They're only 200-300 pages. Mm-hmm. Because I don't spend a lot of time writing extra to make the book seem larger or more descriptive, as we've been saying.
Yeah, and I think that for anybody listening right now, that's Patty's telling you great advice. It's kind of ignore other people that you think that you should be like, and just be like yourself. Just do the thing that's in your head the way you want to say it.
Well, everybody's saying what you should write. But the thing is if you try that, it's not going to work out unless you're a nonfiction writer and you found a niche. As a fiction writer, you can only write what you know, what you're passionate about, right? What motivates you. You can't write something that you have to spend hours researching because you have no idea what it's about. I mean, I do a lot of research for my books, but it's mostly my imagination.
Yeah, do that thing that's in your head, in your imagination, and put it out there, because you're the only one that can really put it out there like that.
Exactly.
Patty, who is your greatest inspiration?
Myself.
Whoa, good one. I like it.
I have never had heroes. I've never mooned over actors or political figures. I had a life where if I didn't do it, no one else would.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been my own inspiration. I accept my own challenges and gear my life towards them. And nobody else, I don't have a mentor. I don't have anyone to tell me which way to go. I've always had to do it myself.
Be your own hero. Be your own inspiration. I love that.
Thanks.
How would you tell somebody to be their own inspiration? What advice would you give them to be like that?
Believe in yourself. Stop worrying what everybody else thinks and says. You can only be yourself. And when you realize that everything that is in your mind comes from who you are, helps you live your life, because then you stop worrying about the little things. You stop worrying about the past. You stop worrying about things you can't change. And just accept that what you believe in is the best.
Have that self-confidence and believe in yourself. Perfect advice.
Well, it's the way I live my life now, because I have many regrets. Oh my God, so many regrets. And I waste hours thinking about how I wish I could have changed them. But there's no point. It's the past. You can't change it. You can only look to your past and not make the same mistakes in your future.
That's right. Just keep moving forward. Keep looking forward.
Yeah, exactly.
Patty, share with us your favorite book, YouTube clip, or whatever else that you might draw inspiration from, and that maybe we could too.
Well, I love Ayn Rand. Fountainhead and Atlas Shrugged are two of my favorite books. Atlas Shrugged is my Bible. Thomas Hardy, any of his books gave me inspiration. That Discerning Heart, that I wrote is based on Thomas Hardy's novel, Mayor of Casterbridge, is a favorite of mine. I always wanted to write like Thomas Hardy. The Count of Monte Cristo by Dumas. That book is brilliant. The story moves, it's fascinating, it's inventive, and part of it is based in a discerning heart as well.
Nice. And all those books will be linked in the show notes page as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Patty, now it's time for the final push. And this is where I will ask you to reach through the microphone, grab the shoulder of one of the people that you've already inspired today, and give them that final push into doing their own creative endeavors.
All I can say is write. Write what you love. Write what you want to write. Do whatever you want and get that novel out. Find the time. Look for opportunities. Don't pass up a time when you feel like writing and go to a social event. You have to change your life to write. You have to become a solitary, lonely figure alone in your house, battering away at the computer. But if you want to do it and you feel passionate about it, then do it. Don't worry, is my book going to sell? Don't worry about your author platform. There's time enough for that. Just write.
Just right. I love it. And I think that translates very, very well to, all artistic endeavors. Just do it.
You don't know what you can achieve until you do it. And if you put barriers and obstacles up, you'll never get there. So throw everything, caution to the wind, and just sit down and write.
Put in the time. Patty, thank you for putting in the time for us today and giving us that push.
Well, I hope I've inspired someone. I hope you'll look at my website, and I thank you very much for this opportunity.
We thank you. And that being said, you can find Patty on her website, which is pattylesser.com. Or you can check out pattylesser.blogspot.ca because she's a Canadian. On Facebook, she's Patty Lesser Writes. And on Twitter, she is Patty Lesser. Patty, thank you again so much for coming on and giving us that push today.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much, Patty, for coming on the show. I love the fact that you are your biggest inspiration. I think that's great advice for everybody else. Be your best inspiration. Why the hell not? Be the person that you desire to look up to. Just be the person yourself. Don't let somebody else encapsulate this hero of yours. Be your own hero. You aspire to be some great writer that's out there, some great artist. You envy that they do art or that they're a great writer and that they're able to, put the time in and put the work in to become great. That can be you. You can be that person. You just have to do it. You just have to put the time in. You have to give some things up. You have to make some sacrifices if you want to be truly great. And stop worrying, as Patty said, about what other people think about your work or what you think that other people think is good work. Do what's in your brain. Do what your mind and your heart call you to do. Just be honest with yourself and you will be your greatest inspiration. I'd like to give an iTunes shout out for a 5-star rating and review of Your Creative Push on iTunes. Joseph Rigodanzo says, fantastic. I'm a writer who also works a full-time job in corporate America. It's hard to maintain enthusiasm and consistency on the work I really care about. Been listening to the first week of the show, and it's so inspiring to hear stories about people who have broken through the barriers and turned their passion into a reality. Interviewer is great too. Thank you, Joseph. I really appreciate that rating and review on iTunes. You're helping us to reach other people with this show and making us still number one on iTunes for arts and visual arts. And if you would like to help us out, the best thing you can do is leave a rating and review like Joseph did. And there's something in it for you too. You'll have a chance to win $100. You can check out all the details on yourcreativepush.com/contest. And I thank you for all those reviews, truly. It means a lot to me, especially in these early stages. Getting just some honest feedback about the show is very, very helpful. So that's all we have today. Tomorrow on the show, we have Daniel Flores, aka DTM.
Find the real people who care and are passionate about that same thing that you are about. You need that.
And that's tomorrow. But hopefully today you were inspired enough to get some work done. So thank you so much for listening and subscribing. We will see you tomorrow.